Hey everybody, it's the Herminator here, and this is a new topic. Now, it can be a little bit confusing from the get-go, but it doesn't take a lot of work to do it. Like the problems don't take nearly as long as some of the others that we've had. So, normally what I'm used to doing when I see parentheses is putting a 1, okay, and then multiplying it. But you have a problem here, and that's the second power here. The second power blocks your rainbow, so I'm going to put in little words block right there. That means it's blocked. If I see a power outside that parentheses, we are blocked and we cannot distribute the 9. So what do I do? Okay, now get ready. You're going to circle this parentheses, and you're going to replace it with just one variable, okay? And you're going to replace it, let's replace it with a capital H, okay, because H for Hermsen. It can be any variable you want, but just let's use H because we don't see that very often. So what I do is I drop the H, I put the 9 in front of it, and then outside that, okay, I have a second power. So again, I'm basically just replacing this whole parentheses and putting an H in its place with a 9 in front. And then we got to get that second power. And then plus 4 equals 31. Okay. Now after that H has been brought in, we need to draw this table here and write two equations on each side. Now, once I solve for the H, I will bring back my 1x minus 3. Just put that on each side. Okay, this will look confusing at the beginning. Now, you have h to the second power, but you don't have any other h's. So what you need to do is dot and circle and write down here, write h to the second equals. And then outside I got a plus 4, so I'm going to subtract 4. And 31 minus 4 then is 27. Just put 27 right there, just like I did. And then you have to divide by the 9, okay? The plus 4 is done now. We divide by 9 and then divide the 27 by 9. And 27 divided by 9 is 3, okay? Or it's 27 divided by 9 is 3. So h to the second power equals 3. Now what I do is I go get my multiplication chart, which you guys have, okay? And you look up 3, and in that row, okay, remember we're looking at this row here, the numbers that go straight diagonally, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, and there. And is 3 in that row? No, it's not. So if it's not in the row, okay, I find the square root of 3 on my calculator, okay? So I go second, and then 4 keys up, the fourth key up, and then the square root pops up. You can put the double parentheses if you want, and then 3. And you put 1.73, just go 2 digits after the decimal. Now you bring that up here, positive, and then the other one is negative, okay? And then you do your math from there. You dot your 1 and circle it, okay? Then I add 3. 1.73 plus 3 is 4.73. And then I divide by 1, and that keeps us at 4.73. So that's one answer. Now the other answer, I plus 3. This time I take negative 1.73 plus 3. That's 1.27. So 1 times x equals 1.27. Then I divide by my 1, and 1.27 divided by 1 is 1.27. Okay, and those are your two answers. You're supposed to get 2 when you have a second power there. Okay, now for the next one. We're going through this whole packet's notes. Okay. Now the next problem, I put a 1. Now I would draw my rainbows, but I see this power here, and again that blocks. That's a block. Okay. So with a block, we circle the parentheses and we put a capital H. So I have 4, and then when I get to the circle, I put H, and then H has to be to the second power equals 16. So when I do that H, then I got to go right away and make my table, and I put the 1x minus 2. Whatever's in that circle is what I put over there. Okay, I just copy what's in the circle, because I'm going to bring that back in, but I need to simplify the equation a little bit so it's not quite so intimidating. So the H, we'll dot the H and circle it, and I'm going to get the H to the second equals, similar to what I do with the x to the second. Now there's no plus or minus, so I go straight to the dividing part. And I take 16 divided by 4, and that's 4. So after I've divided, I put 4. Now, let's go to our multiplication table. Now, 4 is the number I'm looking up, and it's in this bubble. So 2, 2. So H would be equal to 2. So I put 2 and negative 2, because the square root of 4 is 2. Okay? Because here's 4. I can see it's 2 by 2. So I want to put 2 and negative 2. So I don't need to use my calculator for that. So I dot that's what a second power means. It means what number times itself equals this. It's 2, but you could also have negative 2 times negative 2. So now I dot my x, both of them. I plus 2, plus 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. Then divide by 1, and 4 divided by 1 is 4. Okay, then I plus 2. Negative 2 plus 2 is actually 0. Okay, so 0. And then dividing by a 1 keeps me at 0. So x is 4 or x is 0. You get two answers. You're just not going to have to factor it with the boxes. Okay, now next one, I see parentheses, but there's a second power, so I write block. Means I cannot draw the rainbows. This like rejects the rainbows. Okay, so I circle that. I put H. Now I rewrite the equation with the H. Now in front of the H would be a 7, and behind the H is the second power. And then we have minus 3 equals 11. Okay, now whenever I bring that H in, I need the table. Okay, and I put the 1 in front. So 1x minus 3 and 1x minus 3. So to find what goes over here, okay, I need to solve for my h. So h squared, h to the second power equals. So I dot the h, and I have a minus 3, so I plus 3. And 11 plus 3 is 14. Now I divide by the dotted number, and I just go divide the 14. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. Okay, so now I put my 2 down there. So is 2 in that line of numbers? No, it's not. So we have to find the square root. Remember, the square root deletes the second power. Okay. So now I find the square root of 2. So I go second on my calculator because I couldn't use my chart. Okay. Like if I have a 9, I know it's 3 and negative 3 up here. But with a 2, I find the square root. So second square root, 4 keys up, and square root of 2 is 1.41. So on this side I put positive, and this side I put negative, and that's what happens anytime we do a square root. Okay, so I add 3. 1.41 plus 3 is 4.41, so 1 dot x. Then I divide by 1, and that's 4.41. Okay, then I plus 3, but this time I punch in negative 1.41, and I plus 3. Whoops. 1.59, so 1.x equals 1.59. Then I divide by 1, and x is 1.59. Okay. Now the next problem we have by the way, there's nothing there. Now, this time I don't have the block because I don't have that power. Okay. So I distribute. So I got 8 times 1x, that's 8x, and then 8 times 4 is 32. And then I minus 10, and then equals 78. Okay, because I don't need the h, okay, it wasn't blocked, so I dot my x and circle it. Now there's a plus and a minus outside of there. So we can get rid of either one first, it doesn't matter. So minus 10, I would add 10. And the plus 32, I would minus 32. So I have 8.x. Then I take my calculator and I take 78 plus 10 minus 32, and that's 56. And then all I have to do is divide, and I have my answer. Now, there's only one answer to this because there was no second power, okay? So x equals 7. 56 divided by 8 is 7. So you got to be looking for that power. If you got that power there, it blocks it, and you got to use the h in the table. If I don't, I distribute it. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, so I have a parentheses, but there's that power, so the block is on. Okay, block. So I circle that, and I bring my capital H in. Now, H is going to have that 7 in front. It's also going to be to the second power equals 35. So I got to then go make my table. That should get automatic. Whenever you use a different variable that's in the original problem, we're going here. And that's where I'll bring in my 1x minus 3. But I got to figure out what goes here, and that's what I have to do. I get the h to the second equals. So I got the 7, dot it and circle it. There are no pluses, there are no minuses, so I go straight to the division part. And after I divide, I can put that number down here. I don't want to put it up here, okay, because I still got the second power. So 2.23 or 24, or no, 35 divided by 7 is 5. Now, is 5 in that line of numbers? No, it's not. So I'm going to have to find the square root on my calculator. That cancels. Okay, that's me canceling the square root in second, leaving me with just h. Then I find the square root of 5. So second, fourth key up, and then 5. Okay, 2.23. But you could have the positive or the negative. So dot your 1, circle it, dot your 1, circle it. So I plus 3, plus 3. So 2.23 plus 3 is 5.23. And then divide by 1. And that keeps the answer at 5.23. Then plus 3, plus 3. And I take negative 2.23 this time, plus 3, 0.77. And dividing by a 1 keeps us at 0.77. Okay, number 2. I don't like how I wrote this. Rewrite this. Write 3 parentheses x plus 4 to the second power equals 21. Just write that down. That's how I want the problem to look. So the power's outside the parentheses, so I don't do the rainbow. That's blocked. Okay. So with the block, we replace the parentheses with h. Okay. So h is going to have a 3 in front of it. That's going to be the dotted number. It's going to be to the second power equals 21. And then I got to remember to go over here, because I do need to solve for x. I'm just simplifying the equation. And I put 1x plus 4 and 1x plus 4. Now to find what goes over here, we got to solve for the h. Put h second equals and then h equals. Do those two things, okay? I haven't been doing it. I'll do better. So dot and circle. I don't have a plus, I don't have a minus, so I go straight to the dividing by 3. And if after I divide, I can put that number here. So 21 divided by 3 is 7. Now is 7 in that line of numbers? No, it's not. So I don't know that. So I need to find the square root. And that cancels, giving me h. And then 7, so second, 4 keys up, 7, 2.65. Now, you could have that, but you could also have the negative, because a negative times a negative is also a positive. So dot and circle, dot and circle. So I minus 4. And I take 2.65 minus 4. That's negative 1.35. Divide by 1. And that's negative 1.35. Then I minus 4, minus 4. So I take negative 2.65 minus 4, and that's negative 6.65 divided by 1. And that keeps us at negative 6.65. Okay. Next problem. Again, usually I'd rainbow it to get rid of the parentheses, but with that power there, it's on block. Okay. So I replace that parentheses. This is just me writing a simpler equation. Okay. So I need a new variable. I'm going to go at h. So h is going to have a 5 in front, and it's always going to be to the second power. And then we add the 5 before equaling 130. Okay, so I put two equations over here, and I'm going to bring back my 1x minus 3, because that's what h is really equal to. H is equal to 1x minus 3. So now, I don't have to factor this, because the only h I have is to the second power. Okay, so I get h to the second equals, and then that allows me to find what h itself equals without the second power. So dot and circle. I have a plus 5, so I'm going to minus 5. Now 130 minus 5 is 125. So okay, but I still need to divide, so I divide by 5. And then I divide the number over here by 5. So 125 divided by 5. That's 25. Now, what number times itself is 25? That's what a second power means. Well, here's 25, so it's 5 and 5. Okay, so I could use my chart on that. So it'd be 5 or negative 5. Dot circle, dot circle. So plus 3. Plus 3, so 1 times x equals 8 divided by 1. That keeps us at 8. And then here I plus 3, plus 3. Negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Okay, divide by the 1, and we're still at negative 2. Okay, now here we have 7 parentheses x minus 4 plus 3 equals 10. There's no power here, so this is not blocked. So I go ahead and multiply. Okay. 7 times 1x is 7x. Okay. and then 7 times, and then I put my minus. 7 times 4 is 28. And then I add the 3, and then I equal 10. So here's the only x I have. I dot and circle. Now there's a plus and a minus to get rid of. So it doesn't matter which one you do first. So I'll plus 28 and plus 28. Then at the same time, I will minus 3 and minus 3. Okay, so 10 plus 28 minus 3 is 35. Okay, and now I divide by 7. 35 divided by 7 is 5, so x equals 5. And you don't need to square root because there's not a second power there. Okay.